live on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now. So, I mean, hide that. I can't hide. I just still had to choose out. Did y'all get a live notification on y'all's?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, good.
Mm-hmm.
Tell CB his beard isn't long enough. That was Tyler.
That joint is flourishing, man. Flourishing.
Exactly. Wow.
Duck Dynasty over here.
Right. So this is StreamYard, fellas. We're live. We are something else. Let me go to the comments. I don't know if you guys can see that on your screen yet.
I think so.
No,
We're gonna navigate through this one way or another.
Yeah.
But for those on IG, look us up on YouTube. We are WRSC Podcasts.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And then there's a button down here too. It says view your show on YouTube, so we get to see what we're looking like while we're on YouTube. I'm all up on the camera. Let me back up a little bit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, can y'all hear me good without the earbuds? Do I need them?
Yeah. No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Episode 49. We'll go with that. We'll stick with that. We got another one in the tank that recorded double time for us, and
What's happening?
And then Zoom has not gotten back to me yet on how to fix that or edit that issue. So I decided, time to try something different. So I see a lot of people using StreamYard. I figure, why not? It's free. And if it works, bye the Zoom.
Right.
So let's just do around the horn. CB, what have you been up to since the last time we seen you?
I mean, it's a lot of the same. Quarantine, staying home. I did sell 2 pairs of sneakers because I had ordered them and they weren't going to fit. So had to unload those.
Explain it.
This is one of the things that comes along with buying a lot of stuff online. So even though I generally wear the same size in all my different shoes, sometimes they have a different cut sometimes. Like I got a pair of Prestos, and Prestos do t-shirt sizing, like small, medium, large. But why does one of the Prestos that I have?
If you're on live still, I sent you the link. Check your email if you're on live still.
Why do one of the mediums fit me, and then in the other ones a small fits me? Like why? And then in the other one, the small is way too small. So I don't know, but it's stuff like that. Shout out to being able to sell stuff on StockX. So,
Dope. Okay. Superfly.
Yeah, man. I've been more so just prioritizing, family. I'm sure y'all can hear them in the background. Hopefully it's not too much.
Family show.
But I haven't been doing much DJing, just a lot of working and just trying to prioritize family.
Yeah, I noticed you haven't been on give me that good old IG Live Saturday morning cleanup mix.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get back to it. It's with all the stuff going on in the world, it's kind of been tough to kind of muster up the motivation, but then it's also like, is this the appropriate time to do that kind of stuff? So
right.
I've been
IG Live. Just Blaze was good. Mars was good. We are live on our YouTube page. So if you want to see the fellas, go to our YouTube page, WRSC Podcast, and you should see a picture of me and CB standing in the middle of the street with the cop lights behind us. How appropriate, right? So that's where we are. Come and join the room and check us out. Get back to you, Superfly. I feel you. This is the time where I guess I can feel motivation when just not being there. I think, just wanting to do certain things, not being there, because the world is not only we're in the middle of a pandemic. Well, they're trying to push us out of a pandemic. I mean, no one's talking about numbers. Every now and then on the ticker on the bottom of the news, you'll see second wave, or numbers expand in certain southern states. And they're not telling us the states. They're not, everything. All I know is phase 2 came quick.
Right. Yeah.
I've been paying attention to Maryland. I don't really care about what the Mother State's doing.
Right.
I've been watching Maryland and PG County heavy. Like,
Oh, I
and
mean,
I've been staying my ass in the house.
I'm not
Yeah.
going anywhere. Like my part-time gig hit me up today talking about, hey, you want to get back on the schedule next week? Nah, bro. Nah.
No,
Talk
thank
about
you.
go to a mall and
Right.
go to a mall and yo, he was good.
What up, fellas?
There you go.
Good.
Your audio good. Trying something different tonight. We on StreamYard. So as you can tell, I think the camera looks a lot better on here. I think this was probably made to do what we wanted to do besides the Zoom issue I was having. But yeah, so back working at a mall, I'm not quite ready to go back out in society and just jump straight into a mall.
Right.
Because you know what?
Yep.
Everybody else is though. Everybody else is ready to go to a mall, spend money. Let's get this economy back up, guys. Because all of a sudden it went from no, we're gonna take our time, we're gonna pace ourselves. Just this is gonna be a long process.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna take our time and do it right. Well, I'd be damned. PG was held off of phase 1 and MoCo, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, phase 2 is happening like literally within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Numbers are down. You want to know why numbers are down? Because nobody's getting tested because they're out because they can be for phase 1.
It's ridiculous.
Are you? Let me ask you this: Are you guys? Well, I know you just said your answer. CB, Rich, you guys ready to just jump back out into society and just pick up where you left off, like they want you to?
What do you think, E?
Hell to the no. Nah, man. Look, this is the crazy part, right? So, my boss had to go to Denver for a family emergency. He left out of Dulles, right? And he said that it was a ghost town. Said he got on the train and it was just him and the person that was riding the train to get you to the terminals. Gets to Denver, everybody has on masks. Immediately that next week is when they started doing the little bit of openings, the soft openings. He went to go get his mother-in-law from the airport. He said he picked her up in the same spot where he got picked up. Nobody had a mask on. So it's like, and then going back through the airport, he literally took a picture. It's like one of those memes that you can't make up when you actually get it. 2 ladies sitting underneath the sign that says masks are required in the Denver airport, and they don't have a mask on. And it's just like, what do you expect to happen? I mean, from the protests, which again for a good cause, but you got all those people on top of each other. You got people that are going to get it that had it before who are going to give it to somebody else. The second wave is going to be worse than the first wave. Let's just,
Exactly.
you got to get ready for it.
Yeah. I mean, I second that, man. Like, I'm definitely not prepared for it to just be normal life again. Like, this is the new normal, man.
I'm just getting used to this norm. I'm just getting used to being in the house.
Right. Yeah.
For those on the IG live, we're on our YouTube page live right now. It's not just me. You're not just staring at me talking to the screen. It's 4 of us on our YouTube
Have a
page.
conversation with yourself.
Exactly.
Sometimes I wish I could talk to myself.
Exactly.
Right.
So we are WRSC Podcast. Oh, Lou, what's up? We're on WRSC Podcast on YouTube. We're live right now, so we need to get our stream numbers up on YouTube Live. So join us on YouTube and check us out. CB's there, Superfly's there, Eve Rich is there. And we're just talking about being
That's all
quarantined
real.
right now.
That's all real though. Look, like I'm even trying to figure out. All right, when is it good? I want to throw a party. I want to go to a party. I want to DJ a wedding again, man. But I have no idea when it's the right time to start kicking that stuff off again, man.
I mean, I went to a funeral yesterday, and it was supposed to be originally one of those drive-by funerals. You drive through it, and which would have been, a little different. But luckily, Charles County had their phase 2 has already begun, so it was a little more lenient certain things. So there was a graveside funeral. So we're able to go there would be a service, but you have to socially distance or whatever. So it was just weird. Like, I saw my grandparents for the first time in like 3 months, and like I'm I can't hug them or anything like that. Give my grandfather a fist bump. That's so weird.
The
So
weirdest thing, yeah.
yeah, and so we talk, but it's like strange, like passing. It's like strangers in passing. Like, hey, how are you? Like, it's not how I greet my grandparents.
Right.
And they're older too, and you don't know when how long this thing is gonna be to where you see him again, kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking. Dad, I see you on IG Live. Come on YouTube, WRSC Podcast Live. E Rich is there, CB is there, Superfly is there. Okay.
You got to be like this, but you got to be the logo. You got to keep saying the name like every so often.
I should have pinned it. I should have pinned it on my IG, but I'm like Teddy Riley. I don't want to be all up in the camera like Swiss beats
all up in the video.
Timberland. Swiss pin it.
Dance in the background.
Right.
Go to YouTube and just look up WRSC Podcast, and it should show you that we're live. You can click on the link, and then you can come right to the show. Well, at least watch it. If you want to jump in the show, let me know, and I'll send you the link too, and you can hop in the broadcast. Pops has got some interesting things going on too. Maybe he should jump in. I'm gonna send you the invite if you want to jump in real quick. Let me see.
I mean, whenever we can get the legend on here.
Yeah. Dad, I'm gonna send it to your email address, and if you want to hop in, Econ here, BPI USA Group. All right. So I sent you the link. Check it out. Hop in. He's got some good stuff going on. I'll let him tell you what's going on down there. But getting back to work, was you on when I was talking about the part time? Asked me if I was ready to come back.
I just got on.
Yeah, not happening. But the funeral is just so weird. Just I was glad I was able to see them at least, and I bumped elbows with my grandmother. Like, I guess it's yeah.
It is rough, man.
Yeah. So let's transition to the outside of the pandemic, which obviously politics is playing a big hand in all this. They want you to get out, get the economy right. Trump wants to tell you that he brought jobs back. He's got the money is back in the economy. Go out and spend. He wants you to do that, and let's forget that it's voting season, all that good stuff. He has to look good the next 4 months, 5 months before it's time to vote. But George Floyd, let's go there because I'm assuming this is probably where it's going to end. Our conversation is going to be most of the night. Anybody want to start that off? I mean, we don't have to discuss the video, but I know my life changed watching a human being die like right in front of my own eyes.
I didn't watch the video. I don't see that anymore. And I haven't watched the video actually since Walter Scott, dude in South Carolina was shot in the back, and it made me so angry. Like I couldn't even go to work that day, and I was just like, I can't do this no more. This is trauma that I'm not even a participant in, but because you view it, you're a witness to it, right?
Right.
So I've seen pictures of it. I know exactly what happened. But I mean, and there's people who've reached out to me, white people, and I've kind of told them, like it's a lot of people are having their awakenings right now, and I'm kind of like, if you had met me or if you had reached out to me like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe I'd be willing to have a conversation, but I'm done talking about this,
Right.
Go learn on your own, and figure this stuff out,
And it's not like, you guys as black men, it's not y'all's responsibility to be learning up, white people. The resources are out there. Like, you can do your own research. You don't need to, you can do this on your own.
Yeah, man. And it's just like it's a pandemic. Like people, 100,000, over 100,000 people have died in the last 2 months, man. Like that's unimaginable. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
this on top of
Right.
like I can't do it, But
I mean,
I'm glad there's an awakening happening.
Right.
there's
Now,
a hold on, Clay. Let me. I think this is so many. This is an onion, right? So many layers that you got to peel back in order for you to really dissect like all the things that are taking place, right? And I think because there's more visibility on it, that is easy for certain people to learn up on it. I also think that everybody's perspective is going to be viewed differently based upon their own life experiences. You know what I'm saying? 10 years old getting put on the hood of a cop car, while it was still running. What you think my impression of cops is going to be? And I think really what it is if you look at it, the diversity of the protesters than what we've seen before is because the protests, yes, is about the killing of a black man in the way that it happened. But if you really look deeper into it, it's the protest of the way that people don't like the police and how they police everybody else. Because it is once you like that's what I said, once you dissect it, once you peel back that onion, you start seeing that the people, because then everybody's now turning a really quick eye to be like, wow, they pushed white people. Yeah, they do. They make y'all too. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Well, it used to be a joke to us to be like, if all four of us are in the car and they say you get out the car, CB, unfortunately you're gonna have to get out with us because you were three of us. So you get
You
pinned for
catch it,
that
you getting
too.
some of this. Right.
Right.
You getting some
You
of this
get that
work.
too. Right. They not gonna you're not gonna hop out and be like, I'm not with them. They're gonna be like, you're in the car with them, you get out too.
CB
You know
gonna
what
do
I'm
all the
saying?
talking for us. Right.
And which comedian was that? Was
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, right?
Yeah, you talk
Yeah.
for us, right?
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's so many layers to this thing, bro. Like I said, I think that might be a podcast in itself, just to kind of have a deeper level of conversation, just based upon because everybody has their own thoughts, their own uh, ways that they feel about it. That, like I said, that I think um, that'll take it to a whole nother spectrum. Because again, you know what I mean. Like you said, from people not viewing it to people viewing it, from me being from Southern California to Rodney King was like the first imposed that as far as camera was concerned. But we seen that as kids growing up on a normal basis, as far as
Mm-hmm.
getting hit with the clubs, running from the cops, like all
Check
that
your
stuff
Gmail, Dad.
is,
Just check your Gmail.
you
Got that
know,
link.
that's everybody always used to ask me. This is the funny part. Every time, like if I was away from the area, yo, South Central for real? Was Menace to Society for real? Was Boys in the Hood for real? I tell them all yes. So if you
Mhm.
imagine growing up in the '90s as a young kid, how you think you going? How was your mental shaped up against police in itself?
Nope,
Yeah.
that's real. I think the other thing is kind of a perfect storm in a way with so many people out of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if y'all know this, but like on average, about 50% of the adult population is unemployed right now. Over half of black adults are unemployed. That's staggering.
It's
Fifty
crazy.
percent. So you got a whole lot of people out of work who don't have to check in with anybody, who don't have nothing else better to do than to watch the news and TV all day, who got activated by this.
Right.
And they don't have any repercussions, you know what I mean, to go out into the street and they might have lost a loved one or seen, you know what I'm saying, one of their friends been affected by this. Like, it's
Right.
a perfect storm, man.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of pent up energy already because you told me to stay in the house for an unspecified amount of time, and then this happens, and the awakening is here. And the thing is, how long can we keep this energy? Now, how long are people going to be mad or be focused to keep this energy while the stores are starting to open up and other distractions are happening to where like I could go outside and protest. Oh, you know what? Tyson's Corner's open back up. I can go. Movies are open. I can go focus on my family right now and do things like that. Which focus on family is good, but I'm as long as this energy is still here, I'm glad that it's still here. People are mad. People are angry, and now I don't. The blinders that have been turned off for so long, all the footage there you can trace back, all the stories you can trace back. No one ever, for reasons why Kaepernick took a knee. No one wanted to see that, and they made it all about a flag. We
It's
were
different now, and it's not just different among white people. I mean, how many of you guys have had conversations with your friends about guns over the last couple weeks? You know what I'm saying? I know I have about where to go get a license, how to arm
I said
yourself.
that one.
Like you know, it's it's a lot of things are changing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it though, I would say change, but I would also I would change that word, and I would say it's
All right. I
frequent.
sent it to Econ here 196.
I think it's frequent. I wouldn't necessarily say a change. Cleo can tell you way back when I was out there, the gun thing was a thing of life for me way back when. Like that was
Hmm.
automatic. I had to have that. Call it from my paranoia from living out here. I eat my own house. If I'm hearing a car alarm, I still wake up in the morning thinking like somebody trying to get me from my car. And I live in a better neighborhood than I did when I came up. But it's
Right.
Hmm.
still it's still embedded in here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's frequent. So I hear what you're saying as far as the change in the conversation. I think it's
Like
frequent to where more people are getting aware of
That's what I mean.
the
Yeah.
typical
this.
conversations that other people are having that are living on a day-to-day basis in this type of environment or just our way of thinking.
Right.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, people are seeing the survival tactics for a black man. Like y'all go through this on a day to day. Yeah. So that's what we've been telling you for a while. But you make millions of dollars with me. Like I throw you the football, you score touchdowns. People know you're a New Orleans Saint, bro. You got to be all right, right? Nah, bro. You go home to your family. You rah 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 about the flag. Your grandfather fought in all these, in the war. It's different for me.
Bruh, it started, man. We've been having this problem since we was kids. Like, a matter of fact,
Yeah.
as kids, I even asked my pops, right? I said, when did you have that conversation with me? You know what his answer was? When you were 5 or 6.
Mm,
How is it that you 5 or 6 as a kid having to hear about some adult stuff that you're gonna have to endure for the rest of your life
yep.
when other kids that are 5 or 6 are just worrying about playing?
Right. And so on my end, it's it's so different because I grew up. My dad was a state trooper. Now, when you're younger, when you're kids, you play cops and robbers. Cowboys, Indians, however you want to look at it. And I remember, you know, wanting to be a cop. My dad was an undercover narcotics cop. Like, oh, that's cool. Then you see the movies, and you're like, oh, that's dope. And so, like, my perception has always been like in the middle. But then, as you get older, they always say, the one bad apple kind of thing happens, and I'm just like, yeah, I have family members that are police officers. My dad was a police officer. Hell, I wanted to be a police officer at one time, but I know their hearts and their intentions of why they became police officers. And they do say that the job changes you over a period of time, over a length of time. The job will change because you see a lot of things, you do a lot of different things. But I know their intentions were pure, so I can't knock that. still growing up as what you see as a black man, even though I'm part Hawaiian. They don't care about the part Hawaiians. Like they see all this, they see all that, and you're at George. I'm at George Mason on a Friday night, walking with my boys. We were visiting some of our friends that were going there, and we get pulled over by campus police because someone got raped at in the laundromat, and if you guys, three of y'all, you guys fit the description of what was given. Like, you don't get out of here with that mess. Like, we've been with our friends the whole time. They're gonna vouch for us. We haven't gone anywhere near a laundromat. But still, just because late at night, you don't go to George Mason, you got to be up here doing something. It's craziness.
Yeah.
I told a similar story because one of my boys, my boy Giannis, me, him, and my dad had gone to the gym. My dad, a big white dude. We had gone to the gym, and then we had gone to a local restaurant to get some beers and some food after the gym, just hanging out as boys. All three of us drove separately. So we're leaving, and we're actually going to go back to my parents' house just to keep hanging out. And we're following my dad. It's my dad, me, and then Giannis. And we end up exiting out of the one-way entrance, but it's kind of late. There's no one around. The three of us just go. And then as we get a little bit farther down the road, Giannis gets pulled over. So he gets pulled over. I pull off to the side. And, the cop, starts wrapping up Giannis, like, yo, what were you doing? You leaving out the entrance. And he's like, I'm following those guys. Like my friends that you just, that also pulled over. You didn't pull them over though. And that was the quickest traffic stop that I'd ever seen. But I mean, it was just goes to show, like, there was three of us, and the one who you would expect to get picked out was the one that got picked out.
Eric Coney here. Welcome.
Got a legend.
Look like the Hanafi Muslims.
What up, Pop?
Like a bunch of Hanafi Muslims up in here with all these beards. The takeover. This is the perfect look for the protests.
Exactly, man.
Exactly.
Flash quarantine.
The militia. Hey.
I realized why the YouTube Live isn't working. I put it as private, and so I put it as unlisted. So I realized. So now it's all learning. So next time I create a room, I have to make it public, so you can see it. You just can't jump into it unless you get invited. So it's different than Zoom. So make it public, everybody can see it.
You gotta let everybody know you can't get on here with your phone either.
Yeah, right. So StreamYard, we're trying something new. So I don't know if you've been listening to the conversation. Right now we're just talking about. I just told them the story of growing up. Obviously, you were a state trooper, so my vision of being young of the police officer is wanting to be a police officer like you were, because you were undercover. All that you see the movies and it's exciting. And as you get older and you start having interactions with the police officers, and you realize that everybody's intentions when they join isn't necessarily the same reason why your family members or people that I know have joined.
Right. So it's a multi-layered problem. The problem with when the Secret Service got into trouble several years back, I was asked to get on a sitting subcommittee committee with a former director for the Secret Service, a couple of retired Secret Service guys. We were trying to figure out why the Secret Service is having so many problems. And I wrote this paper I published called "The Standard Decline of an Institution." And you can apply this to any institution, but we were specifically applying to law enforcement. So all institutions, by virtue, if they've lasted this long, by virtue of by virtue of the fact that they're still around, started at a very high standard, right? And you can take any institution and compare it against the other, whether it be law enforcement, public education, or whatever. They start at a very high standard. It's a high standard to be a part of that institution. It's a high standard to get into that institution. All institutions, by virtue of who they are, compete against the qualified pool who have the highest standard to get in. That qualified pool decides which institution you want to come in, whether it be law enforcement, PG County versus Maryland State versus Montgomery County, based off of salary, location, and benefits. That's just how it works out. Eventually, that qualified pool depletes, but those institutions still have to survive. They look around in the qualified pool, it's all gone. So what do? They make the first mistake. They lower the standard. Now you have a brand new pool of quote unquote qualified people who weren't at the standard of the original people coming in under the new lower standard. And that cycle repeats itself until you eventually have that first group that came in under the lower standard supervising people who shouldn't have been on a job in the first place. That's where we are with law enforcement. The second thing, and probably what happened prior to that, was pure community policing got put to an end. When I say community policing, I'm not talking about these programs they put together. I'm talking about where the guy walked down the street. He was a part of the fabric of his neighborhood. He applied for the police department in the neighborhood where he worked at. The average Baltimore City police officer is either from Havre de Grace or somewhere up in Northeast or Western Maryland. When they come into work every day, it's like they're going to Baghdad every day. So every call they go to, going on the force continuum, 0 on the force continuum would be verbal judo, 10 be lethal force, right? So if I live in that neighborhood and I'm have a vested interest, and I'm part of the fabric of that neighborhood, I get a call to that neighborhood. When I get there, I'm probably around 0 to 1 because I know everybody at the scene. If I'm not from that neighborhood and I already have predisposed notions of what that neighborhood is, I'm gonna arrive at 7. I can't dial it back to 0 or 1. I'm already at almost lethal force on anything that goes on. You follow me? So the next thing is going to be riding the lightning, taser gun. I come in here with the whole perception that I got to step up from 7, 8, 9, and 10 are lethal force. So I'm at 7. I'm already at the precipice of lethal force. And you take all those circumstances, not being from the neighborhood, out of place, and not qualified for the job. Here's where we have the problem. So that's just law enforcement. It applies to everything across the board. The problem with the most of this thing is bigger than police corruption. Police abuse. It's way bigger than that. This has to be a massive change on the inside, because I can apply for a job, never committed a crime in my life, and lie and get through. And you're never going to pick up the fact that I have predisposed notions about a person's race. I'm going to pass the polygraph. I'm going to pass everything with flying colors because I seem to be pristine and clean. But my predisposed notion about what I feel about that neighborhood is going to slide under the radar. So I'm bringing all those things that I learned when I was young to the job. I get a badge. I have this bolstering new persona that I can do what I want to, and that's where we are. That's literally where we are. The law enforcement has lost its footing in the sense that pure police, community policing. When a guy could walk up and down the street, he knew everybody on his beat by first name. Eric Garner, if it was pure policing, officer arrives on the scene. Eric, come on, Eric, man. We keep coming here. You keep selling these cigarettes, man. Take that shit somewhere else. We know the Korean guy's gonna call on you. Take it down the street. I'm not telling you I'm a proponent of selling untaxed cigarettes, but stop selling them here because this guy's gonna call you every time. All right, Eric. All right, I'm gone. Now, when something happens on the block, hey man, I need to know what's going on. Eric is more inclined to let you know what's going on in the street. You don't have to choke him. All you got to do is community police. It's community police.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how different like this particular case is, because that dude, cool, like a horrific cool, you know what I mean? Just put his knee on that dude's neck and just stood there, knowing he was on camera, and just took his life. And it seemed like on his face he knew he could get away with it. You know what I mean?
Or at least he thought he was going to get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, he hasn't been, he hasn't gone through the justice system yet, but the look on his face is, you even heard the president say at one point in time, I can shoot somebody in the middle of Madison Avenue and, you know what I mean, get away with it. Yeah, and it seemed like that's the attitude that he had.
Yeah, and we have to get away from this whole change the narrative that 99% of the police officers are good. That is to change the narrative, because I know officers that that are not brutal on people, but they steal. We find plenty of troopers that have gone on raids and stolen money. stolen money. So the whole precept that 99% of police officers are good is something we got to get away. We can't let them change their narrative because they're not all good. And 99% is basically 100%. So you're gonna tell me that of the ones that got caught, that there are no more or less. When we keep finding that there are more or less, they just found out last year, March 2019, there was one in Dallas, Texas, that they just released the police officer's video camera. He killed it on a traffic stop for not turning his headlights off, his high beams off. That just came out the day before yesterday.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So, what do you feel about the solution of defunding police? What's the technical term for defunding police?
So that's enough. That we first of all, we have to come to the table speaking with logic and reason. We cannot allow emotion to rule the argument. We're all emotional about this, but emotions are driven by ego. What I want. We have to decide, what do we want for your two children, my grandchildren, for your two children of Superfly? What do we want? And it cannot be driven by emotion. Of course, we're all emotional, but the conversation has to be driven by logic. You're not going to defund police. What you want to do is reroute where the funds go so that it's applied to things that's going to make policing a lot better. Recruitment has to change off the top. Everybody gets the same amount of training. I went to the police academy for 6 months. You had to live there for 6 months. And at that time when I went there, Maryland State Police had the hardest academy there was. But as soon as you got to the barrack, the guy said, forget about everything you learned in the academy. I'm going to teach you how to police the roads. You know what I mean? And then you start picking up bad habits from the people who are your FTOs. Now, I know it's going to be a lot of current police officers and former police officers will say that, man, he ain't right. No, I am right. I lived that life. And I see how it is right now. Hell, I'm even scared when I get stopped by the police. If it's a state trooper, man, when a state trooper stops me, first thing I do is, hey, man, what class were you in? Now I'm talking his language, so I'm de-escalating. What class were you in? Huh? What class were you in? 154. I was in the 82nd. And they was, oh, how you doing, sir? How you doing? So you got to find that common ground because they're already escalated because of traffic stop or whatever confrontation they have with someone. They either think they broke the law or suspicious of breaking the law. Somewhere along the line, you have to de-escalate. We've been, for the last 6 or 7 years, we've been teaching our sons how to live to fight another day. And we just saw George Floyd comply and still get killed. He called that man sir, even when he was choking his life out of his body. He called him sir. When you go hunting for a deer and you put a deer down, what do you do to make sure the deer's dead? You put your knee on his neck to extinguish the rest of his life out. He treated that man like he was hunting.
Yep. And yesterday, I guess one of the nightclub, the owner or the manager came out and said that they had a history.
Well, she said that connection. She said that 2 days after that, one of the guys from CNN that interviewed her on the street said that both of them worked at the same club together and that Chauvin was always amped up the nights they had urban nights, but he was fine when they had Latin nights. And that when he would call for backup, he would always call for officers on duty coming and back him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So if you don't look like them, which everybody on this TV, everybody right here does not. CB, you don't look like them either. You may look close, but you don't look like them.
And Filipino be coming out, man. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I drove home from the podcast in that Ultima I was in.
CB told me my parents are from the Philippines. What you talking about? I drive too fast.
Go ahead, Sean. Pose your question, man. We live on IG. You still here, so pose your question and I'll put it in there. I got my boy Sean on IG. He said he got a question, so I'm gonna read the question as soon as it come up. But I'll make my comment on defunding the police. You need police officers because if you defund the police, or as people are like say emotional right now, saying do away with the police, we can police ourselves. Are you crazy?
Okay, so who's gonna police the neighborhoods? The same people who killing in the neighborhood. It's gonna be all out, war for control over there. Don't we have that already with We already had that with drug wars.
Yeah.
Who controls the corners? Come on, man. Give me a break. I get it. Everybody's emotional. They want to take away money for the police. But this is a manifestation of a deeper problem.
Sean, I'm gonna put it in there. So Sean's question is, what's your opinion on George Floyd being perceived as a martyr?
You know, here we go. So we saw Ahmaud Arbery get killed on TV. We saw Eric Garner get killed on TV. So the question remains: is George Floyd the one that said enough's enough? Why weren't the other two enough? You follow what I'm saying? Why is this one? I think this one that really rang with us was the fact that we saw him beg for his life and watched him die with his face. Look at it. You literally saw the life go out of his eyes. You saw the lights go out. You saw the same spirit and soul that God gave him get taken away in your eyes. It wasn't something that he later died. He died in your face, and you saw how he died. The other ones, you were a little bit removed because you saw the person killed. You never saw the person die. How many of us have sat there and watched a person take his last breath before? I have.
Yeah,
And it's something you never forget. It's something you never forget. And I think that is probably why everybody's using him. But you got to hold on to something. If he's the one they're going to hold on to, and we can get this momentum, which we have momentum right now, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it.
Hey, you wanna know what the crazy part about that is too, though? The one that really shook on the flip side was like every black female that heard him call for his mama.
Come on, man.
It dropped them.
Right.
It dropped them. My mom almost. She was like, she said, because you don't call, but nobody else in that moment of time. You call your mama,
and his mama is dead.
Yeah,
and his mother is dead.
Yeah,
it hit different. It hit different when that came out. Like you couldn't do nothing. A tear, something, just everything in your life just dropped out when you heard him calling for his mom, and you just knew what it was.
A grown man calling for his mother. He got back. He went back to the root of who he was as a person. The nurturing. He went all the way back to the nurturing side of who he was as a person, because he was saying, all of y'all can't help me. It was because there were people around videotaping and they couldn't get to him. The only person that could help him in a situation like that is his mama, because we know that a mama will come.
Yeah, no matter what.
No matter what. No matter what.
Yeah. I think that, like you said, the fact that you can see, this is the first time we all got to see a person's life just vanquished, just right little by little in front of us, and people who didn't even know him begged the guy in control to spare this guy's life. Like, hey, kill him, like he's dying.
People were saying, "You're killing him! You're killing him! You're killing him! You're killing him!"
He took his life. He took it.
Yeah, confidently. Like,
you know what I mean? And not in that instant like moment of panic. It was deliberate. You know?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you are choking, if someone is choking you, are you going to sit there or are you going to struggle? What's the first thing people do when they choke for food? They go like this. Your natural instinct is to survive. That's not resisting arrest.
Right. And he was already pinned down by three other guys behind him. Yeah.
Man, it's but the dude was just so cavalier with it. His glasses up like this, hands in his pocket. But if you watch, you can see him even reposition his knee on his neck.
Yep.
And so I heard today or yesterday that the reason it took the first prosecutor to charge him so long, that Chauvin was already in plea agreements. He was trying to strike a plea deal.
And Superfly, kind of like you were talking about, like, people are home. So
yeah,
you know, the visibility of it, not that the previous events that we've seen have not been public, because they have been. But like you were talking about, it could also be tied to the fact that there's a lot of people sitting at home and
looking at social media.
People at home, there's no football, no basketball, you can't go anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't do anything but but wasn't happening right in front of you.
Yeah, and that was on
No
top
distractions.
of that. No distractions. And it was no static, no chaos, and that just came out of nowhere because all the other noise that was going on was between the election and stuff like that, and that just came out of nowhere, and it was like, what? Wait a minute, what? Forget that mask. I'm going outside. And people are willing to die for this cause. When it was 6 feet wearing a mask, you look on TV and look up for 10 days, people didn't give a damn. They're willing to die for this cause.
Right. And
Yeah.
what did the supposed leader of the country do? He put a fence up around his house to keep out
And ran
all
in
the
the basement.
distractions.
Had to check out to see if the bunker was working.
You talking about bunker bitch? Bunker.
Have you
They
seen
were
that
calling
video?
They were calling
Have
them
you
bunker
seen
bitch.
that?
Them
Have you
clearing
seen the
out.
video of him using the gas, like the timeline that Washington Post put up?
Yeah.
Like that is
Clearing
unreal,
out that
man. Like,
with his militia, because that's all it was. Like,
but even
you-
the National Guard, like there's people that are giving interviews, National Guards, and then even police officers giving testimony around how they were told different information. They were told, some of them were told they were supposed to protect the protesters. Some of them were told, they're there for de-escalation purposes, and then they were kind of at the last minute used as a weapon, essentially.
against their own people, towards their own
Right.
people, I should say, for a photo op of him holding up a Bible
Upside down.
up in front of the church.
Why ain't nobody talking about impeaching on this? Like this happened on camera.
It doesn't
You know
fall
what I
in
mean?
doesn't fall in the impeachment category. That's an emotional response. Doesn't qualify in
Right.
the impeachment category.
Isn't there
Look,
like
man, to be
dereliction
honest
of
with you,
duty
too-
or something like that?
No,
Like,
that's police department.
Superfly. One of the things that I've always said about this administration, about that orange guy, is that he helped bring all the people out to the limelight to say, show your face, right? Come out and say how you really feel. And it's good because we can see them now compared to they were always just stuck behind the desk or behind somewhere else, not saying nothing. They got that he gave them that energy, but that energy now starting to turn.
He woke
2020 is all about clarity.
He woke up the underbelly. He woke up the underbelly of this country, and they showed their face. You said 2020 shows clarity. 2020 been kicking our ass. Is what 2020 been doing.
Oh, look, only halfway through.
Man,
And it hasn't even been a full 6 months since Kobe passed.
I'm about to say, like, how long ago does that feel?
That feels like a lifetime.
So when Kobe passed, I was flying back from Paris with you know who, right? I'm flying back when we get the news that Kobe died. I was there from January 20th to 27th in Paris. We get back, and while we're there, it was an epidemic in Wuhan. It hit while we were there. We get back and go through this whole pandemic in the United States. Come to find out, the first case in Paris was in November. So I was right in the middle of that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, we're only 6 months in 2020. I mean, there's still plenty of time to turn around.
It's gonna get worse, man.
It's
gonna get worse.
Like the murder
Just to be
hornets.
ready.
Murder hornets. Second wave is coming, one way or another.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. See, numbers are spiking now because states you can get a test without having to have a second sign. You don't have to have a fever and something. You can go get tested. So now that they're allowing everybody to have tests now, you're finding more asymptomatic people who are positive than you did when you had to show a sign. So numbers are already spiking, but then you got the governor in Florida saying that he doesn't want the coroner's office reporting cases. So they're under false pretense that the numbers are low, and they're out there riding around with. Look, I'm down here in North Carolina right now. I have not seen one North Carolinian in Morehead City, North Carolina, wearing a mask.
Right.
I can't conceptualize the amount of people that have died. I still keep coming to that. 100 over 100,000 people. I think it's like 115,000 people.
Right. And
have died.
Right, and that doesn't seem to be a concern. Like in the way they just report it, the news was flooded.
This is me every day, all day.
Hey, all day. All day. I don't leave the house.
This is me every day, all
for the podcast tonight. I almost wore mine for the podcast tonight.
Yeah, I got to check y'all. I don't know if y'all been tested yet. every time you turn around, so you can catch it another way. I probably can catch it right through this damn computer.
That's true.
Right.
But I've heard you guys talking about how this thing has changed because I haven't been able to see like my grandkids. So we had like a drive by. So the first time he came by, my granddaughter, she didn't understand it. Why are we here and I can't go inside your house? So the second time, so she would like walk around the car and we were all standing back like this, waving at her. Second time, she like said, fuck it. And she ran towards my wife. I said, oh, she's running towards you. My wife said, I can't stop running from her. And next thing you know, she at the house. We got her at the house. We all up in there hugging and kissing.
My youngest is like this. She can't understand, you know what I mean? That she can't hug people or anything. She just walks up, hug them, kiss them. And what can you do? Like, yeah.
Because that's the natural.
That's how they live their whole life.
Exactly.
Yep.
They don't know any other way.
They are the pure essence of love. Like if you look at a kid, they don't know what's really going on, and all they want to do is affection. They want to be with their friends. They want to be with the people they want to be with. They don't care, and that's crazy.
See, my problem was that I always get the flu right around the beginning of the spring. So I was exhibiting all the signs, right, but no fever, coughing. I was coughing all day and all night. My doctor prescribed me some of that scissor. I was taking that at nighttime to go to sleep. I was coughing all day long. Just before the bed, I said, "Time for some scissor."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a couple times I may have doubled the dose a couple times.
Knocked out, go to sleep. Scratch a little bit, go to sleep.
Yeah, man.
What do y'all think about Bowser putting up the Black Lives Matter painting it on the streets?
Oh, I love that. That was like this to the president. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna keep the lights on for you so you can see it. He now lives at 1600 Black Lives Matter Avenue.
Matter Plaza.
To me, like a lot of people were saying, distraction, but to me, I'm gonna take it as I was huge. First of all, bold to change the street name. Yeah, change the street name, but then I'm gonna paint it right on the street. That street that you want to close off, put your fence around. I'm painting it big, bright yellow letters, and you're gonna see.
I'm gonna show you who in charge out here because nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it.
Nope. And I just love the fact that she stands right up to him and doesn't care.
Yeah,
doesn't care, and that's what it takes. CB, did you what did you think?
I mean, I thought it was a very good display. I don't know enough about Mayor Bowser and like her politics and stuff to know like everything else that she does as far as like for the cause and for the movement and everything. But as far as a like very public and visible showing, like it's powerful. It did get a lot of people talking. And we're talking about the president's front door. So, what better symbolism than that?
Right. She started right from St. John's Church where he did that display.
Right.
And worked her way straight down 16th Street.
Did you hear about the Juneteenth rally he's going to do?
Down in Tulsa, right?
He's
in Oklahoma.
Look, man! Don't get me started on that. What was the name?
Ain't that Black
right?
Wall Street?
What was the name on my jersey, bro? What was
Black
the
Wall
name
Street.
on the jersey?
Black Wall
I'm
Street.
trying to tell you, man. Ever since I learned about that history, nothing ever sits right with me. Nothing. They don't want us to have nothing, bro.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all what y'all do. Go to the PBS and look up that Reconstruction series by Henry Louis Gates.
Yeah, I looked at that. Yeah, I watched that.
Look how powerful we were after the Civil War, even despite trying to get knocked down. If there ever was a time when blacks was a great time, was right after Reconstruction, but they didn't realize that once they cut us loose to be able to do what we could do and flourish, it bothered the shit out of them. And then the blueprint started. Then the blueprint.
We were supposed to fall apart when we got the power.
Yeah, we didn't have any sense of what freedom felt like. Man, they fell right into place. They fell right into place.
I mean, they say like the civil rights movement was the second construction. I think we might be living in the third one.
Yeah,
Their reconstruction.
For me, this is me talking. I think as a community, we dropped the ball after the '63 Civil Rights Bill. We had finally made it. We didn't have the next plan. We finally made it with the Civil Rights Bill, and we didn't have a next plan. And all of a sudden, it caught up to us right now. And right now, there's no forward momentum with one force. You can take these other alphabet and non-alphabet movements. One starts with an L, the other one starts with Peter. They wrap all these small skirmishes under the big umbrella, and it's one movement. It's one movement. We have splinter movements, and my biggest fear is the deaths, that these unfortunate deaths become another tagline with no momentum wrapped into the bigger movement. So that's what I said. This thing is bigger than police brutality, bad police. It's bigger than that. You got to figure out what that big movement is, find the right leader, because most of our leaders are the leaders of the past, and their message does not transcend to the new generation, because it's you guys are in my position now, where now you're almost the elder statesman to these younger kids who are ready to move. So whoever that person is has to be able to communicate with my generation, the last of the baby boomers, y'all's generation, but particularly to the younger generation, because they're going to be the ones on the ground. If you looked on the ground, you had all three generations out there, particularly with this younger generation that they only communicate via smartphone stuff. You can't hold a conversation with them. They're very emotional, and they don't use logic and reasoning in the argument. It's what he said. Did you hear what he say? Well, I don't know. Who is he? Who is he? You know, don't be telling me, as the great rapper, as the great prophet Jay-Z said, I don't know what does it mean? What does it mean to you? And be able to articulate that. But I don't know who that leader is. And me and a bunch of brothers from the Grand Lodge were sitting there talking, said the obvious great leader that can transcend all those will be Barack Obama. But I don't know if he's ready to commit to all that, or if his wife is going to let him commit to that, because you're going to have a lot of guys going to say they need to be at the table, but you're going to include all the black and brown people at the table in this argument. But it has to be one concerted argument. When MLK and Malcolm X were moving, even though their philosophies were fundamentally different, their end goal was the same. And there was a point in time where their philosophies actually shifted when Malcolm X became more peaceful and MLK became more aggressive. It was for an end game. Both of them agreed at the end game, and that is our big thing right now. When we start going for the ask, we have to have somebody that, number one, can walk in the United States Capitol without an invitation, and number two, when he calls the White House, when the assistant tells the president who's taking a shit that so and so's on the phone, he gets up and forgets to wipe his ass. That's the person who needs to be the leader. That has the respect and fear that when he speaks, that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think to me it's a time where, and we got into a pattern of doing a lot of marching and protesting, and then like no follow through. So like,
right,
you know,
I'm gonna wrap
we
up.
have to build ourselves back
15
up
seconds left.
economically.
Thank everybody for joining. Gonna do this again on live stream again. So thank you guys for joining. I'll go ahead and continue. The IG live just ended, so
Okay.
that was our time.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's a combination of, you know, economic power and consolidating that within our community, and also political power. So at some point we got to determine what are the you know, things we can agree on and get those things pushed, you know.
That's the bigger part. What can we agree on? Number one, are we going to agree that this is going to be our common goal?
Mm-hmm.
We can wrap up all those small skirmishes under this big umbrella and move together, because that's how the gay community does. They've gotten so good at their momentum that they've wrapped up some of the black cause in it.
Right.
Some of the black cause in it, like the problems that the transgenders were having with all these murders of transgender women, which are mostly black. That's wrapped up in the LGBTQ movement, not in the black movement. It's wrapped up in their movement.
Mhm.
It's wrapped up in their movement. So we have to find that common, whatever that common goal is. Find out who the person or persons that can speak on behalf of that movement, and that their voice transcends through these generations and everybody listens. And that's not going to be an easy task, because we never agree when we get to the table. Why is he in charge? Well, why is he speaking and I'm not speaking?
We
When is
get
it my turn?
tribal.
When
Right.
is it my turn? When is it my turn?
We get tribal.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow.
Yep.
That was good stuff. We can. You guys want to touch bases on NFL finally admitting to there's a problem?
I still want to see more.
Everybody's so super sensitive right now, man. Everybody's so super sensitive. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. There is a problem. I don't know, man.
It's a CYA thing right now. I need my business to continue flourishing or continue getting black sponsorship or black people watching. So I have to play damage control right now.
Yeah.
And they got, and not even the watching. You talk about the percentage of black players. If you really don't act like you don't want to say nothing, and they decide that they don't want to play, what you gonna do?
I'm not.
I mean, this is green. They already
people
staring down the barrel of 50% full stadiums next year.
Right.
You know how much money
Exactly.
they're gonna stand to lose over the next couple of years because of COVID, and now
Exactly.
you're gonna put this on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm not giving Roger Goodell the benefit of doubt of anything until you publicly apologize for what happened. That has to be done.
Hey,
You're not gonna do
sure
that. That's
and the most vocal owner.
I don't know what that means, but
It's still the most vocal owner of the NFL is still quiet right now.
Yeah, he hasn't said anything about this yet.
I was about to say, Jerry Jones ain't gonna say nothing about it because he's still gonna take his stance regardless.
Y'all leave my boys alone. He ain't talking about the Cowboys. He talking about his boys. Y'all leave my boys alone.
I mean, but what's bigger, the NFL stuff or NASCAR?
I know.
I mean,
see, they gotta answer the questions, man. Like all this stuff, just like the NFL needs to explain why they, at some point, they got to come to terms with why they banned Colin Kaepernick and talk about it. NASCAR has to talk about why they allowed for the Confederate flag to be so prominent and why they changed their mind now. So you know what I mean?
Stupidity.
You gotta explain that in order to be transparent. You just can't act like, oh well, we'll,
bro, it's
for the greater good. We'll forget about it.
They did
it's stupidity.
a census.
Nobody wants to.
Yeah, so maybe they did a census and figured out that black people actually do watch NASCAR.
A lot of black people watch NASCAR. I've been to Talladega. I've been to all the Daytonas, not Daytona, but the racetrack at Dover. I was at the last Richmond race before they changed the track around. A lot of people go there. So the black driver that's there now is not the first black driver, because they had a guy before, I can't think of his name, but he was such a radical, man. This joker was a radical, he was too early. He was too early. So y'all know how NASCAR got started, right? How I got started. Moonshine.
Moonshine. Yeah, I heard about that too.
Moonshine. We weren't in that business.
Like,
as always, we were the customer.
Nah, I remember way back when Mello bought into NASCAR when he was in Denver. So the money been there, and we got small investments in there. But again, like regardless of the Confederate flag or the NFL, like Superfly, it's stupidity. And they not gonna want to. The fact that they can say that they've had the blinders on for however long they want to say, it still doesn't make up for it. They got to show going forward that it's gonna stay and it's gonna be a lasting stay. It's not gonna be just for the time being, because the energy got to be there.
Yeah, because here's the thing: NASCAR survives off of what? The sponsors.
Right.
You look at the sponsors on those cars; they've already said that they've already. said that they don't agree with racism. Mm-hmm. So how can you have an organization that's run by sponsors that are anti-racist. So you can't have the both. You can't have the same. Right. You're either racing private cars with no sponsors on it. Good luck with that. Or you're gonna let the sponsors see. Some of this is on the sponsors too. Hey, look, man, we've taken a stance on this. If you still want our money, you got to pull that flag down.
Yeah. Let's see what Starbucks does.
Right.
Because that's it. That hit the fan today.
Yeah.
What happened with Starbucks?
They said that their employees cannot have any like clothing or insignia that says Black Lives Matter.
Was that a single franchise, or was that a corporate wide message though?
Yeah, it's my understanding that was a corporate wide video that was disseminated to all employees.
Because they because it's like franchises, right? You can go into
the Wendy's thing,
handle it how they want.
Yeah, I heard the Wendy's thing is like a franchise thing, but they're saying Starbucks thing is nationwide. But we'll see how long that lasts, because every company, I mean, you gotta be stupid right now to run a business and to try to go against Black Lives Matter.
They forget Magic helped them out.
I know exactly, right? He brought him to PG.
Yeah. Wow.
But there's been, I watched it lately, and I've decided I'm going to do it too. There's been a big push for keeping Black money in Black communities, but in order to do that, we have to have superior service. I tell people all the time, if you have Danny's Sub Shop that's run by Asians next to Eddie Leonard's Sub Shop, we're going to go to Danny's because he puts 2 more pieces of fish on the bread, even though it's the cheaper cut of fish. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to go to the brother's restaurant because he gonna try to get over and not put enough food on my sandwich. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then you have the ones who will start something. They never get off the ground because we don't support them. We don't support them. If we give superior service, I'm all for it. But we put out me and my family put out and I don't know if they said it to Claire, on the local Black businesses that we support, especially like restaurants, because obviously you know that we're very good at restaurants. All you can do is look at me. But that place up in Bowie, Claire, that you turned us on to,
Hardy's Barbecue, Black owned. Food is amazing. There's a couple other places that we're trying to help people to promote. Guess what tomorrow is? Friday. I know it is. Friday. Yeah, I'm out of town.
He got Carolina. That's a good barbecue down there.
Yeah, let me tell you something. A little joke aside. So Smithfield's. When I say Smithfield's, what do you think of?
Bacon, right?
Or ham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their fried chicken better than the Royal Farms.
Oh wow.
Better than Royal, and they have this red sauce.
I got Where's the chicken wing at? Go ahead, bring it.
They gone already.
Gone.
They gone dead. Your chicken wing dead. Your chicken wing is dead. I've gone there so much that the lady recognized my voice in the speaker.
Oh, that's awesome. This has been fun, fellas. I'm loving the new live StreamYard. I haven't had any delays. That's why I get away from Zoom. We're gonna see what happens when it's time to upload the show. But it should be pushing us live straight to Facebook or YouTube right now. You got different options, different places we can push. But let's get it for the soul. Anybody? Superfly, I know you prepared.
Yeah, I'm prepared, man.
Let's see what you rocking, Superfly.
No, I don't want to play this game because I know Pop's got something stashed somewhere.
Exactly, he got some exclusive.
At all costs, I ain't showing shit.
I'm not going to.
Oh!
I'm not going to participate.
It was so dope it knocked my phone out.
Oh, no.
I ain't never played that game again with Pops. I ain't never played that game with Pops. And he was like, "Oh, that's that's cute. That's cute." And then he just
that's general release. Like, is that general release?
Right. Pops is one of the only dudes I know. He's just another guy, but he gets PEs. Like what?
Right.
Yeah, fire.
Right. I don't even know.
So I had these, got them when the documentary dropped. And
They did the
the
sneakers
alert
drop.
came across the screen. Huh?
When they did
Yeah,
the
the sneakers
drop.
drop. Yeah. As soon as the thing started, I was like, oh, right.
When did you get those?
The day
See,
when
you
the Last Dance came out.
Okay, so 6 months prior to that.
See, I told you. Yeah, I know you're gonna stun us. I mean, I already knew that. I already knew that was gonna happen.
Pops, what was it like being around with the documentary going on?
So, in my house, we all sat in front of TV and had popcorn every Sunday, and so I would text him, you know, with my because up until this point, Noah was all LeBron, and about the third show, he said, I was wrong because it's just those things behind the scenes that you don't see that was the driving force behind everything going on that nobody else did or does. And to the point where he got emotional and said, look, I don't have to do this, because he wasn't going to do the series. They convinced him to do it. They convinced him to do it. And part of him doing it was to kill the noise about who was the GOAT. He said, look, I don't have to do this. That's the way I play. And he got emotional because part of the need to do it and him not wanting to do it was toying at him. And so when it got to that point where he said he didn't want to be seen as an asshole. You follow what I'm saying? But the whole series, you could take him as an asshole. It's like, damn, this dude was a savage. What was the player's name? What was the player's name that he kept? You know, he said, "Get your get your ass down that court."
Because he got more spotlight in the documentary than everybody else. Black dude.
It's not Randy Brown. It's
No,
the other dude.
But Randy Brown was the other one.
He laid in his ass over there. Bitch, get up and down the field. Court.
He called him a hoe, didn't he?
Yeah.
I was too good when he did that. I was done. I damn near fell out when he called him that.
He was grown ass man.
Damn.
He called him a hoe.
Exactly.
Hey, look, the thing that tripped me out is how is he drinking so many beers and smoking cigars before the game?
Yeah, man, that's how you play. He took a cigar to
the game. Right.
Right.
Yo.
But it was crazy. Like he was like Coors Light, right? It wasn't even like
Exactly. Them North Carolina beers. He was
yeah.
MGDs. He wasn't messing around.
CB, you got anything?
I've got no Nikes or Jordans today, but I got some Asics. These are one of the collaborations they did with Slam Jam. These are called the Six Pearls, but these are one of my favorite Asics that I got. These are beautiful as far as I'm concerned.
Blue or purple?
Blue. It's like it's kind of not quite a Carolina blue, but it's a very light.
What about on the top, the upper sole in the front?
It's black.
Dark blue?
It's black, so it fades from blue to black.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just think that's so fire. There's the original version of these, the initial drop, they were black and red, and those are super limited. Those go for like over $1,000 on StockX. It's ridiculous.
Sheesh, man.
These are more affordable than that.
Well, go ahead, E. Rich.
I dare not show anything that's not Jordan while Pops is on here, because I've seen how he used to treat me and my bro back in the day if he ever saw us in anything other than this. So that's hence the reason why all my football cleats were Jordan cleats. But I brought these out.
Woo!
So I went and copped them out of storage. So I'm about to go ahead and fresh these up for the summertime.
There we go. That's a summer sneaker if I ever saw it.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm all over these. I
was
couldn't.
trying to find the player's name that he
wait.
kept picking on throughout the whole documentary. I can't.
Wait, was Everett? You was in the wedding, right?
Yep, I still got my grades.
Oh, there's some little cool grades that you got special made. They stopped production to make them shoes.
You're right. They sitting right up in my closet too, waiting to get that ink on them.
You see that tag? You see that tag on that box? Whose name is on that tag?
Yeah, I see it. It's facing me. I got it facing me all day.
Eric Corner here on that tag.
Nice.
Oh, I thought them things said new. I was about to go like this.
So the boxes are a little fooling, but paper that right there. This is CP. I think we did a lot for the Soul Live on this, but this is Jordan collab with Nike React soles.
Oh wow!
So
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, it's got the React sole.
Yo, React. I love React, man. That is every shoe with React. I buy them joints.
The camera's back.
Yeah.
And then you got the.
Have you seen the new cross trainer ones that almost look like the Yeezys?
Yep, I've seen those. I actually like those.
I didn't bring those with me, but I'm going to back out of this competition and leave it alone. Let y'all just put us on.
You don't want her to too bad.
There it is. Put it up real close. Whose name was on that box? There he is. Eric Corner here at the bottom. There it is.
That's not even my story to tell, but I love telling that story.
So next month around the 11th, y'all invite me back on. I will premiere my shoe.
Ooh. We're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to do that.
Go.
I'm done.
You heard it here first.
I'm done.
My shoe.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Let's go.
I don't know about 4 guys on this podcast that would happily wear your shoe too.
And it'll be just like normal. I'll get it way before you do, and then
we gotta wait for the general release.
Exactly. Yeah. When the documentary come out.
Let me know when to hit the sneakers app. The sneakers app ready for the drawing.
Right. Yep. Around January 11th.
I'm not showing.
June 11th.
I'm not showing nothing else, but the Jordan golf cleats that I'm getting out. Those 5s that I sent you.
Yep.
I'm about to get those 5.
Those are dope.
What size you wear?
9.
Which the 5s or the 11s?
No, the 5s, the ones that Superfly showed. They got them in the golf
low
cleats,
cut, low cut golf.
I'm saying they got the 11s in the low cut too, cleat.
Oh yeah. Well, I wear a size 9 if you want to push them out that way.
Yeah, you have to remember that when I get back to Florida.
Told you, Clay.
I'm a 14. Right.
I'm gonna be walking around town with golf cleats on.
Right. Exactly. I ain't got these.
Right.
You ain't got these in Popeyes.
Exactly.
Standing Popeyes sliding on the greasy floor.
Right.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, man, fellas, it's been real. Dad, we appreciate you stopping by.
Oh, absolutely.
Glad you came and gave us some of your energy, gave some stories. I mean, shine a light on some things.
Oh yeah. It's always good to be around y'all.
Yeah, fellas, it's been good. This was a good one. I think we needed this one. So the first part is done. I know we didn't record in double time. So when I hit in broadcast, we'll see what happens after that. Because if not, this is just gonna be a private conversation and whatever was on IG Live.
Yeah.
So
and you can have this in the outtakes. You should have heard after we went off the camera.
Exactly right.
This is your last dance portion of it.
Right. There you go. But that's it, fellas. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. What's left, and we'll do this again. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Y'all take care of yourselves.
Are we doing a screenshot?
Everybody, hold on. I'm gonna screenshot it so we can when I post it, we'll have a still.
Let me get in front of the camera.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Okay.
All in my face and shit.
That-
I think I shot a gang sign by accident.